Rodeo Red. Bet you there's a saguaro in here somewhere. I go by the name Rodeo Red. My best friend in the world is my hound dog, Rusty. Oh. Rusty and me had always been happier than 2 buttons on a new shirt until Sideswiping Slim showed up. The first time our eyes met, I knew Slim was trouble. He looked as slippery as a snake's belly in a mudslide. I thought for sure anybody who hollered that much would be hauled to the edge of town and told to skedaddle. But the sheriff and her deputy seemed smitten. I love it that he has that little, like, upside down mustache on his head. Slim laid low for a while, but gradually he started moving into my territory. Yank. I'd come home to find my belongings all in a tumble, my spurs missing, or grape jelly smeared on my favorite hat. We should all have saloon doors to our bedroom. That would be so cool. I tried reasoning with Slim. I showed him the border between his camp and mine. You may not go any further. But that scallywag talked nothing but gibberish. He just moseyed back into my ranch like he owned the place. Finally, I threw in the sponge. I didn't want nothing more to do with that cantankerous lemon custard. He said, "Don't fence me in. Give me land, lots of land, understand." All right. Then one day, Rusty weren't nowhere to be found. I looked everywhere for him. I knew right then that Slim was up to his sideswiping ways. It was time for us to go toe to toe, eyeball to eyeball. Late that night, I snuck into Slim's camp. There he was, sawing logs, poor Rusty in his clutches, and the upside-down mustache on top of his head. I eased up and tried to slip Rusty out real gentle-like, but Slim was squeezing that dog tighter than a greenhorn riding a bucking bronco. I tugged and pulled, but it weren't no use. "Dad burn it, Slim," I hollered. "Give me back my dog." Well, that woke him up. He set to squalling like a fire truck heading to a wiener roast gone bad. In 2 shakes, the deputy was in there telling me to get. Wouldn't you know, Slim would have the law on his side. I went back to my ranch feeling lower than a prairie dog's basement. I just had to get Rusty back. The next day, I snuck back into Slim's camp. I swung my rope and caught Rusty around the middle, but Slim lit into a fit loud enough to cause a stampede. The sheriff showed up, and well, what followed weren't pretty. She dropped me into a holding cell quicker than you could say lickety-split. I was madder than a bee on a Sunday bonnet. When the sheriff finally let me out, I decided to drown my sorrows and grab me some grub. Halfway through my second cookie, I heard a commotion. The stagecoach had arrived with the mail. Glory be, there was a package for me. It was a belated birthday gift from Aunt Sal. Now, Aunt Sal is a good old gal, but truth be told, she's a city slicker. I was hoping for a sturdy set of boots or a good piece of rope. Instead, I got some sort of varnished varmint. It looked lazy and addle-brained to me. I doubted it could even keep mice out of the barn. And then an idea lit up my noggin. There's the saguaro. coat rack. I need one. Bet they're on Amazon. I sauntered into Slim's camp bold as a new nickel. I had that sissified simpleton in my arms, cuddling it like it was the best thing I could ever think to do. Slim's eyes shone like 2 full moons. He stretched out his hands and said, "Gimme, gimme, gimme." I took my time, petting it real slow like. I'll take the coat stand. "You want this critter?" I looked him square in the eye. "You gotta give me back my dog." Slim hesitated. His eyes darted back and forth between Rusty and that fussy feline. I could tell he was weighing things out. But the sight of that dolled up dandy was finally too much for him. He handed over Rusty like it was a hot coal at a barbecue. After that, Slim didn't pay Rusty no never mind. He hugged that frilly varmint like he'd found his best friend for life. Well, there's no accounting for taste, but what did I care? I had Rusty back where he belonged, safe in my arms. It was time to put my boots up for a spell before the next adventure. I tucked Rusty close and we headed back to the ranch, happier than 2 freckles on a sunny cheek.